Now and welcome in on our fundamental guest on the show, Nitasha Shankar from Securities joins us now. Hi Nitasha, very good afternoon to you. Let's talk straight about the markets, especially the consumption themes. Despite the seesaw and the wobbliness that we witnessed in the markets at large, consumption space, especially driven by FMCGs and autos, have been doing fairly well. Now that we're approaching closer to elections, given the fact that there's also a good monsoon that is playing out over the country, are we likely to see further traction in these stocks in consumer names going ahead as well?
Absolutely. We do believe that consumption is a theme which investors can play on, at least from a 1 to 1.5 year perspective. In the run-up to elections, consumption has improved significantly both on the urban side as well as on the rural side. And if the monsoons continue to remain normal, hopefully, which seems to be the case right now, we do think that this traction is this particular consumption story is only going to gain traction, and we would see better times, at least in the better FMCG names as well as the auto names and even the consumer durable names.
Okay, and what about infrastructure? I was chatting with somebody earlier on in the day, and they said as we approach elections, the focus is likely to be, focus is likely to go away from infra into consumer. Is that a shift that you also believe can happen?
So while there can be a bit of a shift in focus from infrastructure to towards consumption, but one has to view infrastructure in light of all the orders that we saw earlier this year as well as last year. And once these orders have already been awarded, and which is the case for most of the companies that they've already received orders, we would see better execution from them and a translation into better numbers. So one has to remember that most of these infrastructure companies, particularly on the road side of infrastructure, did see orders almost drying up earlier on. So the kind of growth that you can expect over there in terms of numbers, both on the revenue side as well as on the bottom line side, would be quite high. And we continue to remain positive on some of these names, especially those where the balance sheet strength is there to ensure that better execution continues going forward.
Hi Natasha, this is Nitasha joining in from New Delhi. I do know that your top bets for infrastructure are IRB, PNC Infratech and Sadbhav Infrastructure. I thought I'll just inform the viewers about that. I also understand that you're being quite bullish on the consumption story. I don't think we need to second guess why that's the case. They've clearly been the star performers in the earnings season that has ended. Tell me, what are your top bets in the consumption sector? And isn't there a fear that maybe this sector is going to get overheated? Every brokerage house, top story right now and top bet is consumption.
I think we've been positive on consumption for a while now, and fortunately we've been recommending the stocks over there as well. So yes, there is a chance that things might get overheated. So one has to keep in view the valuations, but we do think that there's still a lot of steam that is left within these FMCG stocks as well as the consumer durable stocks. Particularly with names like Marico, with names like Imami, or even an ITC for that matter. There's still a lot of steam left over there, and we think that that is going to continue. And if investors must remember that most of these are larger mid caps as well as large caps, so even a 14 to 15% return from here on is quite attractive, keeping in mind that yes, you're in relatively safer stocks which are going to be outperforming the rest of the market.
Right. Nitasha, we're going to leave it at that. Thanks so much for joining us with that updates. That's Securities views on certain sectors. And